I was never a huge fan of the Paper Mario series. It was a subsection and genre of the Mario franchise that I had completely neglected in my formative years. I owned every, and I mean every Nintendo console from the Super Nintendo to the GameCube and everything else after that. Yet not only did I never experience Paper Mario, but I never experienced any kind of Mario RPG until I was about 16 years old when I bought Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story for my DS. I popped the game into my DS, I played about 30 minutes of it and said, yeah, that was pretty fun, I'll play it again tomorrow. I never played it again. Okay, to be fair, we all have a backlog of games that we say we're gonna play, but we never really do. And my backlog haunts me every time I go to sleep at night. The closest I ever got to beating a Paper Mario game was when I purchased the Origami King a long while ago. This game was pretty awesome, actually. I loved the visuals. The soundtrack was amazing. And while I'm gonna be completely honest, I even liked the white outline of Mario. While I'm not a huge Paper Mario fan— who the f is texting me on Discord while I'm trying to record? Oh, god damn it. While I'm not a huge Paper Mario fan, I do know the discourse surrounding the franchise and how it's been completely bastardized with the past decade or so, with Super Paper Mario being a very gray area for some. Paper Mario was originally spawned from the falling out with Square Enix and Nintendo wanting to use Mario for another RPG, and fans loved the first two, I think. The Thousand Year Door is heralded as one of, and in Nathaniel Bandy's case, the second best Mario game of all time. So you know what? Maybe now that I own a GameCube, I should actually try that game. You know, I remember this price being much higher 5 months ago. It's time. Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door is pretty damn solid. The game just recently came out at the time of writing this video, and I have a job, so that means I have not actually fully beaten the game yet, but I still want to talk about it because this game deserves it. 2023 was a huge year for Mario, somehow even bigger than his 35th anniversary, but that's not really a high bar now, is it? I mean, we got the Mario movie, we got the first original 2D Mario in over a decade, we got a full remake of Super Mario RPG, and of course, we have so many other things releasing this year as well. Princess Peach Showtime, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and of course, the Thousand Year Door. I grew up with the GameCube and loved Mario, so it's really bizarre to think that I missed out on what was supposedly such an incredible experience. Well, today, I say that changes right here, right now. And another thing that could also change right here, right now, is the 98.1% of you that are not subscribed to the channel yet are watching my content. Holy crap, that is way too large of a number. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. It would just mean a lot to me. I'd love to see you all there. I mean, if we could bring it down to like at least 95 or something like that, I'd really appreciate it. That'd make a huge difference. But enough about that. Let's get back into the video. I guess the best place to start off would be at the beginning. This game looks fantastic. There's only so much that you can really see through the trailers and teasers of a game before you get your fill. The game can look really damn good in the trailers, but how does it actually feel running on the console itself? Game footage not final my ass. Well, I am very glad to say that this game runs swimmingly. Now, there has been a lot of controversy surrounding the game's specs, running that it's only 900p docked and goes at a measly 30 frames per second, and honestly, I'm okay with this. If it's a game like Paper Mario, 30 frames is fine. I mean, sure, I would never turn down a 60 frame game. I think it can only benefit your titles, but it's not the end of the world if the frames aren't up to snuff. However, the bigger issue in my eyes is the very low resolution. I get this game as a remake, I really do. I commend the developers for remaking this game from the ground up, but it's just that dip in the image quality that goes a longer way than anyone would really think. In a perfect world, we would get 1080p and 60 frames, but nothing is perfect and we have to make sacrifices. But so many things are around in this game. It's just the quality of the image. It just brings a little bit of that ridginess and edge that just shouldn't be there if the image quality was simply better, or at the very least less noticeable than it is. Although that's where my gripes really end with how this game looks visually, because at the end of the day, it's the charm that absolutely carries this game through and through, which it's just oozing out of the seams of this game. It's something that I've always loved about Mario spin-offs, specifically the RPGs, were their charm. I loved the writing in Origami King and Super Mario RPG. It's all so cleverly written and hilarious, and I think the charm is simply at its peak with this game. Back to the visuals. This game just looks outstanding. I've never played the original, so for me at least, it's really difficult to compare the two, by just seeing the first 20 minutes of the game on GameCube, there are so many small details and subtle differences that make the game experience that much better. Things such as being able to harass NPCs with your hammer, far more objects being made out of paper, which I know will scare the purists. It's just things like these that make the game so much more immersive and charming to go through. You know, and that's not even mentioning one of my favorite things about this game being its writing. Okay, well, I've alluded to it a bit earlier, but now we're actually talking about it. This game is funny. Plain and simple. I'm still in the very early game as far as I know, and the writing always finds a way to, at the very least, make me giggle. By the way, by early game, I mean like I'm in late chapter 2 right now, just for those who are wondering. I was even being caught off guard by some of the jokes, which makes them even funnier to me. Background gags like characters literally getting jumped in broad daylight. They really capture the St. Louis experience on this one. My favorite gags so far has got to be with Koops as we trek through the castle only to find what is supposedly his dead father, who wrote a note to his son on how to defeat the dragon at the top of the castle. Only to find out that this actually isn't Koops' father and is instead someone completely random who wrote to his son, Colorado. After that, we just kind of ignored it, and that just made me giggle, it made me laugh, it made me chuckle. Speaking of Koops and the like, I have completely neglected talking about the battle system for a little while, and that's for a good reason. The only comparison I have to this battle system is Paper Mario the Origami King, as it's really the only other Paper Mario I've played, and I really liked Origami King's approach to battling. Sure, there were problems like no leveling up, which gave you no incentive to really go into the battles, but honestly, I liked the wheel puzzle mechanic. Getting all the enemies to line up nice and neat for a satisfying hit. Trying to finish the battle in the least amount of terms possible. It was fun and unique. Thousand Year Door, however, is very much a casual return to form to his Mario RPG roots. Mario RPGs are very simple. They aren't complex in the slightest, and I don't think the mechanics of this game should be complex, as that would turn away a lot of people looking to get into the genre. The Xenoblade trilogy of games are my favorite games of all time, and I love them because of their complex and in-depth mechanics. I also love them for the story, the amazing and lovable cast of characters, the soundtrack, just about everything, but that's not the point. The point is that a Mario RPG doesn't need to have the greatest and deepest gameplay known to man, but what it does need to be is fun, and that's precisely what the game is. In battles, your actions are defined by timing, usually pressing the A button at the correct time to either deal extra damage or guard from an enemy's attack. Some moves even require flicking the joystick in certain directions for the same effect. This is where the game's combat separates itself from Super Mario RPG and offers a little more depth in the gameplay, which is something I love. When guarding, you can also press B with exceptional timing for a counter/parry, and that is another thing I really love about this game. It's simple to learn and understand, but offers something more for people who just want to go the extra mile in combat. It's risk and reward done perfectly and is only amplified with the badge system. The best way I can compare the badges is to aux cores from Xenoblade 2, so I mean like 5 people are gonna probably understand how this works. The badge has set effects that can impact you in gameplay in various ways, sometimes even giving you new moves. Even the enemies can have badges, which gives them unique moves too, and that's just something I absolutely love. I've been saying that a lot. This game is just too good, dude. I just compared them to Xenoblade 2 without actually telling you what the aux cores even do. I'm tired. This game's combat is what I would call a perfect beginner's RPG. It's very simple and fun. I honestly feel like if this game included some of the creative and in-depth mechanics of other RPGs, it would simply sour the experience and probably turn off a lot of newcomers, so this was the best move that Nintendo and Intelligent Systems could have made. And while we're talking about Intelligent Systems, they were honestly the perfect studio to craft this game. I know this was simply a remake, but I'm talking about the original too. Intelligent Systems is no stranger to RPGs. They know and understand what makes a good RPG and have had a great relationship with Nintendo for a very long time. If you liked Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, I totally recommend their other titles, specifically Fire Emblem Engage. That game is fantastic. I know for a fact I just scared off like every Mario fan in a 10-mile radius just by saying that. I almost forgot to talk about this actually a little bit earlier, since this review was pretty scattered, honestly. There wasn't really a good place to talk about the companion mechanics. Since these little guys feed into both the story and the battles, it wasn't really a great place for me to talk about them. So I'll just talk about them here. And holy shit, they're really good. This isn't something I was expecting to love as much as I do about the game. The only companion I really knew of was an Origami King. I think his name was Bobby. I knew that there were companions in other games, and I'd assumed that they'd be a fine enough addition to the game itself. but it wasn't something that I'd be going crazy about. Well, in all honesty, these characters are what makes the game as good as it is. I now understand why Paper Mario fans are so determined to get them back in the future titles, as they're really what makes this game so fun and memorable. I only have about 3 companions at this time, but they make such a lovely impression on the game to where it's hard to ignore their existence. Not that I would want to ignore them, but it was crazy to me just how much they stood out and how quickly they made a name for themselves. Mario himself is not the most interesting protagonist in the world, let's be honest here, but to be fair, he never was. It's hilarious to me how self-aware the game could be, as pretty much everyone recognizes Mario just like how we would recognize him in real life. The majority of the superb writing has to come from the other characters, and I think that's what makes the companions so fun to work with. Each companion has their own unique traits and personality that not only stand out from the group, but the entire franchise, as we rarely see anything like this, especially in the main Mario games. I mean, not only do they carry the writing, but they also are very unique in the gameplay, as they each have special abilities that you can use them for, not only to solve puzzles, but also to take down enemies. Characters like Koops acting as a boomerang in the overworld to hit switches for you from afar, or like Flurry, I think that's her name, she blows huge gusts of wind to blow down walls of paper and the like. One of my favorite puzzles in the game comes from her, as you were supposed to blow the little creatures off the ledge only for them to get carried to the other side. It honestly took me forever to figure this out. I never knew you could do something like that, but once I figured it out, it all clicked with me and honestly just made me appreciate these characters and their abilities even more. So far and overall, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is an absolutely wonderful game with fun mechanics, a rich and charming world, and a hilarious story. There really is something about this game that hasn't been captured in the future Mario titles. Do I agree with who the fuck texted me on Snapchat? Do I agree with Nathaniel Bandy and think that it's the second best Mario game of all time? No, not really, especially considering I haven't even beaten the game yet, so that may be subject to change. But as of right now, I absolutely love the game, and it's very much a worthwhile experience just from like the 5 hours that I've played. I would honestly consider the game a must-have for Mario fans, Switch fans, and, well, RPG fans in general. I don't really plan on coming back to make a full retrospective on this game when I'm finished with it, since I have a ton of other projects in the works, and if you would like to see those projects and more Mario content like this, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We're so close to reaching 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, I would love to see you all there. If you want an even bigger discussion, I also have a Discord server with my fellow creators, Big Sleater and CK Matt, if you're interested. But otherwise, that's gonna do it for me, everybody. My name is Dylonic, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy and stay fresh.